All right. I think it is 5:10 now in Dubai. 6:40 should be in India. So we shall start our second session for today. Today is 11th of December 2021. And topic of today's discussion is law of karma. So that is the 10th law of the universal laws. And this is one of the most important law to understand, because we normally run our lives under the influence of the karma. So I will just explain how the karma generates, how it works, how it is stored, how it is implemented, what is the cycle of the karma, and finally we'll go into how it can be neutralized, or how to we can go beyond karma. So that is the thing I will explain today. First of all, let us understand that this karma is, most of the people think that I am getting punishment or the reward from the God or from the universe. It is nothing to do with the God or the universe, your karma. Karma are generated by you, and it is whatever the effect, how it is generated, I will explain. It's generated by you, stored by in your some higher self, and then enacted also by your lower body. So we already know that we have a 7-body system: physical body, energy body, emotional body, then emotional body, knowledge body, then the causal body, cause of everything, 5th body, then divine body, and then the nirvanic, the 7-body system we have. This karma, it is generated and effect has been felt into the physical body, but it is not stored in the physical body. And that is why it has got a capacity to go over the lifetime. As long as the soul consciousness is same, it go into different incarnation. Means that if the physical body has done something, taken something, you need physical body to return it. It cannot be settled in the soul level. That's what I mean. If you have taken a loan from a bank, then return also give it back to a bank. You cannot give a return to a temple. That account will not settle. It will be a different account. That, okay, I have taken loan of say 10,000 rupees from the bank and I have donated 10,000 rupees in a charity. That will not balance, because you have to return, go to which form you have taken. So in the physical body you have done something, you need a physical body to return. Simple. So now let us understand how the karmas are generated. And before that, what is the karma? Karma is imbalance in the energy equilibrium. All the energy level is in the equilibrium condition. If that energy is disbalanced, it can either way, whether good or bad doesn't matter. If it is not neutral anymore, so then it has to come back. Like if I take maybe I took something, maybe pain, I have taken a pain up. So if I hold it, is fine. I need to apply force to keep it there. But as long as I release it, it will come down to the ground, or the stable condition. When it is fallen on the ground, it is stable. It cannot go further because it has reached the equilibrium position. Also, same thing happens for the understanding, like a pendulum. Suppose there is a pendulum. So this is the energy neutral position. Okay. If I push it in one side, then as long as I'm holding, it will hold there. But the moment I will release it, it will come back to its original position. If it is a bob, it will swinging into then and come back here. You know that the pendulum with a thread and then a ball. So if you take the ball in one side, release it, it automatically go to equal and opposite other direction, maybe a few times, then it comes to the neutral. That process happens when we disturb the energy system. The equilibrium is disturbed. How we can disturb? We can disturb through three things what is at our disposal because of the free will contract with our soul consciousness. Soul consciousness does not interfere into these three things. What are the three things? What I'm going to think right now, it is under my control. If I send my mind, it will go and play with a dinosaur. It will go there immediately because I'm thinking that it will be done there. It will go. It can travel time also, going and playing with the dinosaur. If I put my mind, go and sit down on top of the Eiffel Tower, thinking, it will go there. There is no distance is also not there. So time and distance doesn't matter. Thought can go instantly. It is under my control, what I'm going to think. If I don't direct my thinking, some thinking will come automatically. I'm not talking about that. But if I have to think something, nobody is coming in between. I can think anything. And second part is thought, words, and actions. The saying. Whatever I'm going to say, it is fully under my free will. Nobody can stop me. I can choose not to talk. You can say now RPA is having session, it doesn't look nice, I should talk. That is your choice. But actually nobody's, holding your mouth that don't talk. Okay? Because he's holding his mouth, he doesn't want to talk. All right, no, jokes apart. What I'm saying is that it is your choice that whether to talk or not to talk. Huh? I'm not talking consequences, acceptance. I'm talking you have a right to talk. You can talk. Also action. What action you are going to take, that is also, suppose I wanted to scratch my head. Nobody can stop me. Huh? Whatever I wish to, I can do that, take the action. Nobody is coming in between. I can choose not to take some action. That is a different issue altogether. These three things are in our direct control. Okay, that can be influenced by many other things. I'm not saying that these cannot be influenced. I'm only saying it is under your disposal. Whatever you're going to think, whatever you're going to say, whatever in the next moment, that is under your control. Because we have this free will contract, we have these three free things at our disposal. We use this sometimes. Suppose we think that we are very smart. What we'll do, I will go and suppose some person is going on the street. I just go there and just push him, and he fallen down. I say, wow, what a funny thing. I pushed him. Yeah? Nobody is stopping it. I can do that. In time, by doing so, I generate a karma. It has to come back to me. I will also have a separate incidents where somebody else will push me and I will fall. Because I created the karma and it is stored as an imbalance thing, pendulum. Giving an next opportunity, it will come back. And I will have to face to neutralize that energy. Okay, so here what happened is this way. One funny story, Guruji Prem Nirmalji one day he was sharing. So he was traveling in in Mumbai local train, in the station, I think Bombay VT or someplace. He get down. Somebody just came and slapped him and ran away. Okay. Some random people came, just slapped and ran away. So then, from where this, how this is happening? So then he said he remembered long time back, in the same local train. Earlier there used to a lot of pickpocketing in pickpockets. So one pickpocket is caught. Yeah, everybody tried to give us some kind of thrashing to that, to enjoy that. So the Guruji saying long time back, when I was also traveling, so they caught on pickpocket. So I also gone and given little bit, 2-3 slaps to that thief. He said, now I realize that karma is settled here. Somebody unknown came and slapped me and gone in the railway station. Yeah? Anyway, so you never know how it is getting settled. Yeah? So this every action has equal and opposite reaction. That is Newton's third law in the physics also, and it is in general it is an energy imbalance, conservation of energy law. It is some sort of boomerang. You throw a boomerang and it will come back to you. It will not go anywhere. It will ultimately come back to you. Same here. Only confusion is created if there is a time delay between action and reaction. If suppose I put my hand in a electric socket, I get a shock. It is instantaneous. My action and reaction is instantaneous. And matter settled there. It is not an unbalanced thing. But suppose I have stolen money from somebody, that person doesn't know. I think I'm too smart. Nobody knows about it. Nobody knows about it, but you know. In your system, it will remain as an unbalanced account. It will go to your storage as an unbalanced account, as a karma created. And it will go to your fifth body, Karan Deha, where all karmas are stored. This, if you have done something and not settled in the same lifetime, then in the next lifetime, you have to come back to settle that. If not, the next. So what happens is, most of the time, we may have done something with the people we know, or maybe friends and close relatives. It is seen that same people are taking birth again and again to settle that karma or something. They took birth to come here to settle one karma, bind another one, a new one. That was settled, maybe another one. So again, they have to come back and things like that. That this now, after we all of us have 700 plus lifetimes. So you think of the scenario, something or other you've done, and so many, in each life you have some maybe 70, 80, 90 years you lived, and how many days and how many things it is possible to get it done. So that many unsettled karma may be there. It will go into millions, if not more. Anyway, so again, you have to come and settle those things and all this kind of stuff. Yeah? And also, this imbalance has to be, as I told you in the beginning, it has to be in the physical body. It cannot be settled in the soul level. Okay, after I die, I will settle it there. No issue. It's not possible. That's why people take birth. And that is the reason, originally, you might have a soul's plan to experience something. Understand this, but very carefully, because I get a lot of questions in particularly this area. Why we take birth? What is the reason? And all this kind of stuff. Originally, we take birth to experience ourselves. That is a soul's plan. The Creator has created that soul and given a soul's plan to experience many things and then come back to home. We come here not to know something, to experience something. Knowledge is already there. Everything is known. Only experience was not there. It tries different permutation, combination, and means the source, the one, it wants to experience itself in infinite ways because it is infinitely powerful. So it created infinite number of parts and keep creating. That is a soul consciousness. It's a part of itself. Universal consciousness, soul consciousness. Soul consciousness has been given some plan. Which are the things they need to experience? Yeah, they may be trying to experience, how it is felt like, to be the youngest son in the family. How it is feel like to born in a Brahmin family. How it is feel like to be a Christian nun. All these are the plan. They wanted to experience the one life in that way. Different type, different country, different place, different environment, different age. Okay, different type of power, different types of intellect, different type of capacity to earn and spend. This different. They want the variation. It doesn't matter. In that, it is all different variation of things. It doesn't matter that whether it's a good, bad, or thing doesn't matter. It just into experience. So what I'm saying is original soul's plan, whatever it wanted to experience, that is called soul's plan. That might have been over in the first 50 lifetimes. But during the process, because of the free will, they must have done something which imbalances the energy, created karma, and they have to come back to settle the karma. So first 50, maybe original plan gone, or maybe 1 or 2 left. That's not a big deal. But you then bulk of karma created. So you have to come again. And in the process of settling, you've done more karma, again you come back. So maybe another 100, 200, 300, 400 lifetimes you're coming just to settling and resettling those karmas. Original was gone, but another one you are entering. And people fall into the trap. Why they fall into the trap? Because of ignorance. Ignorance means not about the not learning something. It is ignorance about the soul's plan and what is need to be done. Because they don't know what is the soul's plan, what came here for. So because of that ignorance, whatever the brain, what they got in that life, because of that, situation have been created by the soul. Before each birth, what soul does is, soul wants to create next incarnation where maximum number of karma can be settled. It is like a father is advising his son. Son might have borrowed some money from the bank and paying EMI, and because of EMI, the son is suffering. Father's advice is you pay maximum possible, finish the loan in next 2 years. Don't enjoy your life. Rest of the life you enjoy, but pay that back as quickly as possible so that you can get out of the debt and then you enjoy your life. But when son become very smart, he said, no, I'll be little and try to dodge, skip some EMI, then bank put some police behind him. So then he is in trouble. He come to the father and father try to settle something and he ran away. So another 2 police cases also applied to that. So first he's having loan, now defaulter, now the police case. So that is why the next life, soul always plan how it can be quickly settled. Because of that, understand that because soul wants to finish it as quickly as possible, that's why most of the people, they feel like they're suffering in this life without any reason. Because the reason created earlier life, not in this life, so they cannot logically understand why I need to suffer this. I'm an honest person. I'm doing my duty. I earn my living. Why I have to suffer this disease, suffer this punishment, suffer this, inconvenience, suffer this kind of trouble, pain? Why I have to see that? Because your soul, at soul level, you only, nobody else. You have designed. You are the master of that script. Not only you, all to whom you meet, at the soul level, all has soul contract. In this life, okay, so in earlier life, so you kill me, and this life I will kill you. Okay, so somebody come and kill you, and then the matter is over. So that's how it works. In this life, it looks unnecessarily he is killing you. He's a murderer. But actually, in the soul level, this is all design. Unless until that person murders you, your karma of that will not go. Okay, it runs like that. So in this case, it's fully logical. Why we are suffering and we are crying and we are trying to find out something. But original reason is because of your karma. Even if, there are some way the karma, I will show you I'll tell you some technique how to neutralize some karmic burden. But ultimately, even if somebody has got the power to delete the karma or something, it will not happen, because if delete means it will simply shift to the next life. If it is not balanced, it will go to the shift to the next life. Maybe this life you will feel relaxed, but it will again come back to you. Like There may be somebody can talk to the bank and said, okay, for next 3 EMI, you defer. So next 3 months you'll be slow. I'm very happy. Yeah? But it will come back. Money is not going anywhere. He has to pay. Okay. And that is the reason maybe the spiritual masters, they don't interfere into this. Because once it is interfered, this suffering will just simply delayed. It will not be neutralized. Neutralization is a different method. I will tell you that. But you need to do it. Okay, it is not that some people come and Guruji says that I'm playing a role of blessing Baba. People think that somebody can bless you and all karma will. It will never happen. I'm telling you right now. Because that is the sole reason you have to take birth. You have to face it and get over it. That is the way. Let me give another example to understand that. Yeah, you are in say class 7. You wanted to go to class 8, right? In class 7, students think, oh, too much. Exam is too tough. Okay, let some headmaster come and delete few of the exam papers so that my exam will be, instead of 7 papers, I have to give only 2 papers. That other papers are not going anywhere. If you don't finish all the papers, you are not going to the next class. So headmaster, even if he has an administrative power to take that some exam out of you, he will not do it because it is not in your best interest. He will say, prepare yourself. I will give you more time, but you have to sit in the exam. Exam is not going anywhere. I can ask more teacher to help you to understand the subject, but not running away from the test. That is not possible. Okay, so I'm just making it clear. The Guru blessing Baba will not help like a headmaster. It is a counterproductive. It is not in your best interest to remove something. Then rest, if that some headmaster takes some exam paper out, rest of his life, he will remain in class 7. Because he didn't qualify to go to the next class. As simple as that. Exam has gone, so has the future. That's why. Okay. That's why it is what they do, they empower yourself. They will teach you such a way the exam paper gets easy. You find it easier to solve and pass the exam yourself, not the headmaster. That can be done, and all the masters are doing exactly that. To help you to empower yourself so that you can approach it with full awareness and how then you can overcome those faster. Also, when you are in awareness, you don't unnecessarily suffer. Okay, so that part has been taken care of. Okay, right. Now let me go into what are the types of karma, how they work, and things like that. Okay, before I go to that, is it clear to you the why we take birth again and again? It's called punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. And we come and do similar mistakes and keep. I have seen my minimum 70 to 75 past lives directly, and any other life I can go into. I'm surprised to see same mistake has come again and again and again. Maybe 10 lifetimes, same mistake happened. I mean, it becomes a pattern, like we cannot get out of that pattern. Same mistake happens, and then you got stuck and come again. Like in the exam, same paper you are failing all the time. You better prepare for it. Why attempting and failing and come back for the next exam? It's useless. Huh? When you see over the period of lifetime, we feel so stupid. We just blindly doing something without any, we think we are smart and trying to go into that and indulge into something because of free will. And we come back with all this, same way, similar way. Anyway, now, so primary, just to summarize the earlier discussion, primary reason we suffer from karmic burden because of our own previous karma. Only the time difference is there. That's why we cannot correlate mentally or intellectually. Okay, so there was one, I'll show you some picture is very nicely put into that. Let me see. Can you see a picture? One guy is kicking a dominoes. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. This domino, he thinks, oh, my fine, I can kick it. Yeah. Let's enjoy. This domino ultimately going, coming round and fall on his head. Yeah. And this is how the karma works. This is the consequential. Only there is a delay in time. It is just a matter of time that he will be under that burden of karma. That enjoying will go haywire. Okay, so he's saying, I give a damn, and that damn will finally come back and haunt him. Okay, you can see me back again? Yeah? All right. Yes, Shomnath?
Can you share that slide in the group?
Okay, sure, I will.
It's a very nice one to understand the law of karma.
Okay, all right, sure, I will do that.
Thank you. Pranam.
So, what is happening is, at the time of kicking it, that person doesn't know it is all interlinked. Huh? There is a domino effect of that. And it will finally come on his head, unknowingly, from backside. But it is created, generated by him, his actions. Huh? Okay, so this is how the law of karma works. It is just as I said in the beginning, no God or anybody not punishing you, not rewarding you also. You imbalance some energy and that ultimately coming back to you. If you don't create the imbalance, it will not come back to you, as simple as that. So now let me go to the 3 categories of karma. There are subcategories. I'm not going to that detail, but I'm just saying the main category, whatever you are doing now, it can create karma for future. That is called kriyaman karma. What you are doing now, which will create karma. Maybe 2 seconds from now, 2 minutes from now, 2 hours from now, 2 days from now, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades from now, effect will come back. Okay. So that particular thing called kriyaman karma, you are generating something new. How you generate? Through your free will. Okay. If you say abuse somebody, I say some bad words. So thought, words, and action. One of them I disturb the balance. It will come back to me. I have to find myself in the other side of the gully sometime. Or you have some other issue. Maybe, I cheated someone. I also get cheated some other day. How this works? It works. Suppose, somebody is too smart. Huh? So they were asking me, let me tell you this. Suppose 100 years back, you cheated somebody 1 rupee. Huh? 100 years back, 1 rupee you cheated. He says, okay, fine. After 100 years, 1 rupee I'll pay. So value of 1 rupee that time and value of 1 rupee this time. That time people's salary was 5 rupees. Huh? Okay. 100 years back or sometime. So now that is 5 rupees salary, and now this is maybe 50,000 rupees salary. It's the equivalent one. Okay. Now, if you're too smart, you said, I'll pay 1 rupee after a few lifetimes, I'll pay 1 rupee, and that's it. Okay. It will not work that way. It will work energetically. Means that 1 rupee, what pain created at that time, equivalent amount of pain you have to be there, not the amount. Okay. You said too smart. Oh, that's spirituality, divine. How they know about this inflation and things like that. I'll pay 1 rupee. Huh? So don't be over smart. It is all taken care of. There is no way out. Similar amount of pain will be there. Also, another thing also, let me tell you. Also, it will, particularly if somebody is in the spiritual line, who is in a higher vibration, 500 plus vibration, what happens is they are operating from the compassionate level. They are operating selflessly. So if somebody is vibrating higher than that, and forget about that, if they have somebody enlightened, it is still beyond that, 700 plus. All these kind of things, if somebody 250 PVF, I'm talking, the vibration now, okay. And whoever has done these negative things, 250 is neutral, so it is definitely below 250. If you do some karmic thing with somebody who is spiritual, karma will not be the same. It will be multiplied by the factor of the difference of the vibration. If somebody is vibrating 200, he makes some damage to a person, enlightened person who is vibrating at 1000 PVF, 5 times of karma will come to him. Okay, and of course the enlightened level, it is called Guru Dosh, means it got magnified because of that. That person is not doing it. This is the reason when the Jesus Christ was nailed, you remember the crucifixion? Then he asked for the forgiveness for them because he knows what is going to happen. Think about his vibration and these people's vibration. Okay, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They are unaware, and that's why. Okay, because that karma, it will go lifetimes for them to settle. If they put one hammer also, one hit in the nail, that will go into lifetime because of the difference in their vibration. And that's how it works. So, and this particular aspect, who in the spiritual level, it is called Guru Dosh. So be careful, okay? Because they are operating from selfless zone. And if you go and harm them anyway, it will be very much multiplied into this law of karma, as per law of karma. Okay, but for the time being, forget about that. You think it is equal. Okay, equal but energetical, not smartness at 1 rupee 100 year back. Okay, no chalupanti. Okay, similar type of pain will be created. And not only that, there is some other dimension also. Suppose in this life, you are rich. You stolen some money, say maybe 1,000 rupees from one guy. In this life, I'm not talking different lifetimes. That fellow may be earning 5,000 rupees and you have stolen 1,000 from him. You may be earning 5 lakh rupees per month. Okay. The pain you created taking 1,000, you will be going through loss of that equivalent amount of your earning level, not 5,000 or 1,000. That much pain will be created. Okay. So it is an energy. It is not the amount that matters. That's what I'm explaining you. So don't try to be smart to, deal with these things. Okay, because of your reason, if somebody is harmed, they become powerless, equivalent amount of pain will be created in you. For that, you may have to go for the big loss. So be careful. Okay, anyway, let me come back to the types of karma. So first type is Kriyaman karma. So at the same time, let me three things first, then I come to the neutralization method. Kriyaman karma is what we are doing now by thoughts, words, and actions, which generate karma for future. Next one, suppose some karma, I did something, but I didn't settle it immediately. Maybe there'll be a time lapse. Maybe I planted one seed and it will come back. Some fruit. It will take some time. No? During this period, it will be stored in your fifth body. In the karmic storage account storage, that is called karmic account. All files are there. And at a given moment, when the time is ripe, that one is called Sanchita karma. So Kriyaman, what you are doing now, if it is not settled, it will go into the storage. That is called Sanchita karma. When the time of effect will come, that from the stock, it will be withdrawn, like issued for the implementation. Okay, when it is issued, it will show its effect. And that will do that. How its effect will do? When that karma will download it from the fifth body, which is the karmic, causal body, from the knowledge body. Knowledge body is the soul's, knowledge level. From there, it will come to emotional level, then energy body, pranamaya kosh, then physical body, annamaya kosh. from the energy body to physical body is entered through our Sushumna Nadi. Our energy channel. We do Kriya and we do, chakras are there and all this thing. It is that body. It comes through that. After entering into that, it affects our intellect. Nobody else is doing. It will influence your intellect. You do some action and behavior under the influence of that karma. Okay, that will give you the ultimate result. Okay, suppose there is a karma for you to fall sick. Because of the influence of that, you will follow a certain lifestyle, you will eat something which cannot be digested, or you have to go somewhere where some other ailment can be picked up, some virus can come and all these things. You will go. You have a choice not to go, but your, intellect will take you there. You will catch up the disease. That is how the karma will be settled. You will fall sick. Okay, so it is you who will be doing it. Your intellect will be doing it. And that's why it is called Buddhi Karmanusarini. Okay, as per your karma, your intellect will run. So, and then it will give you the effect. So this part is called Prarabdha Karma. When from the stock something is coming and you are getting under influence and, something, the result is given. It is said, okay, now let me come to the neutralization part of it. How to mitigate it, how to reduce it. Kriyaman karma, which you are doing now, it will create karma for future. Prevention is the best cure. You don't create karma to start with, so that there is no question of managing it. No? You are not creating it. How you cannot create it? Simply by awareness. The lecture you are receiving today, by that you are aware. If I do this, I will be punished some other time. This is awareness. You are aware. There will be consequences. ज़्यादा smart होने का ज़रूरत नहीं है. Follow the rule. Okay, I will not get caught even if I break the rule. And that is a smartness, and that's why people get trapped into all these things. So, if you follow the rule and be aware that the consequences, you will not do it. So, suppose, just like I was giving example of, how not to get electric shock. Simply awareness, if I touch that plug, there is electricity inside. It's my awareness. The awareness will stop you not to get shock. Correct? If I go and I will not go and jump from the 10-story building because I know I will die. The awareness will stop me to getting died and falling from the 10-story building. Correct? Only awareness. Nobody is stopping me. Nobody is pulling my hand. Don't go, don't go. Nobody. It's my free will. I can go and jump, but I will not. Because of the awareness. I'm aware what is the consequences. That's why I will not go and even stand near the window, open window to there. I may fall, unknowingly also. Somebody can push me from back. I can slip my leg or something like that can happen. That will stop me, but falling from the 10-story building. Okay, so this is how the Kriyaman Karma neutralization method is awareness. If you're aware, you will not fall into the trap. Okay. Second part is the Sanchita Karma, which is already stored. It may be this life, previous life, doesn't matter. There is storage. There is a, again, Prem Nirmal ji said, you have, we talk it about karma beej, the seed, like. You say in your godown, there are thousands of bags of seeds there. Okay. Not few, because so many lifetime you had. Think of how many karma you created. Each beej is there. So it is like a godown of sack, the bori, bhar ke seed there. Anyway, so jokes apart, but there will be many, plenty. So of this, the karma beej is there. what is the neutralization method? How we can neutralize that? My own karma. That the neutralization method of karma is to roast them, listen carefully, to roast those seeds with Dhyan Agni. The meditative fire can roast them. Okay. You have seen that, what is called the groundnut or some mumfali. Yeah. They do it on the some एक बर्तन में कुछ सैंड डाल के ना उसके ऊपर they put that, no, that what they call, or maybe the corn, they put it something. So if the seed itself, if it is roasted, it will not sprout again. Otherwise, it is moment you put the seed in the ground and water them, it will start sprouting, maybe after a few days. But if you roast the seed and then throw it in the ground, put water, nothing will happen because seed is roasted. It lost its capacity to sprout again. So all your karma bij, if you roast them, what is the technique? You cannot take the kadai and sand to go and it's not possible. The technique is meditative fire, dhyan agni. When we sit down in the meditation, what is the mudra which told to you? What is the mudra? What is it called? Chin mudra. Yeah. 5 fingers represent 5 elements. Thumb represents fire. And pointing finger represents air. So if you do like this, then you are giving air to the fire. If you sit in this meditation this way, Chin mudra, your meditation become meditative fire, which will burn your karma. Roast your karma bij. That's why any spiritual master will tell you, meditate, meditate, and meditate. लॉजिकल से पागल है क्या? मेडिटेट करेंगे क्या? 2-5 मिनट कर लिया, प्रैक्टिस हो गया, हाँ पता लग गया क्या है, जाने दो. It's not about that. People who already walk the path, they are not stupid. इधर उसको टाइम के बारे में पता नहीं है. 2 घंटा मेडिटेट, कौन ना किसके पास टाइम है 2 घंटा? अरे भाई 2 घंटा अगर मेडिटेट करोगे ना, हो सकता है 10-15 वो जो सीड है ना वो न्यूट्रलाइज हो जाए, उसका इफेक्ट ना आए. If you do it daily, slowly, it will go there. But it is also true. So that's why you're asked to meditate. But statistically, it is also true. You see, few hundred lifetimes of karma, body bhar ke all these seeds. In one lifetime, no matter 24 hours you meditate. Don't take that as an excuse not to meditate. Okay. Even if you do 24 hours meditation, rest of your life, you cannot finish them. That is also true. Then what is the solution? So it is like that, you need not to, there is no end in learning, so no point in learning. That kind of logic. And don't go into that. So, let me tell you what happens here. When you give your 100% effect, it is the result. Result 100%, you cannot do it statistically or otherwise. Forget about one lifetime. Even 10 lifetime is not good enough to do it, roast all of them by your meditation. If you do 24 hours, 24/7. But let me tell you, they say if you take one step, the divine will come down 9 steps to meet you. Or even 100. You take 99 steps, the divine will come to help you. So here, the strategy is you give your 100%. We are following householder spirituality. If I have a time, only about 1.5 hours, if I spend that free time for meditation, that means I am giving my 100%, my commitment to my own sadhana. Nobody is giving Nobel Prize for that, but it is my own sadhana. Whatever time I have, I'm meditating. When I give my 100%, 100% seriously, no chalupanthi. because it is not about anyone. When we do that, then divine grace happens. Then the Guru Mandala send one representative who has a capacity to delete karma. But not without your effort. Means without effort, it is not that कि ठीक है बुला लेते हैं करके चला जाए. It's not that. वो नौकर नहीं है. Sorry, it depends upon your qualification, your deservability, not your desire. इधर ज्यादा होशियारी, ज्यादा business acumen दिखाने का there is no need. You give your 100%, like a stupid. I'm just praying and doing my own meditation. It will come. And that's why it is called Guru Kripa. Divine will come down to you to help you out, but not without you knocking the door. Okay, it will not automatic. There is solution is there. That process is called Karmakshalan. Okay. Their masters, they have a capacity to burn your godown, just putting a matchstick into that. They have the power. But unless until you do your bit, that event will never happen. Okay. So, and whoever has passed that, they realized that whatever karma I had, it is impossible to get enlightened, because unless until all karmic accounts are closed, you cannot get enlightened. So finally what happens is that divine grace happens. They take away, burn all your karma. Suddenly you get liberated. All right. It's a divine grace. I'm feeling, crying. Because all your suffering, all your thing just goes like this. Lifetimes of that, hundreds of lifetimes. And then you got liberated. Then the process is very simple after that. It's not, but when it happens only due to Guru Kripa, not because of your qualification, not how many hours you meditate, not to whom you follow and what method it doesn't matter actually. None of this matters. Guru Kripa happens, that makes you get enlightened. Nothing because of your own, qualification and what you do and what you don't do doesn't matter there. All right. So this part is clear. Okay. So how to take karma bij. Achha, now let to make it a little lighter. I ask Babaji, so many people, their karmas are getting burned. और जाते किधर है? Burning के बाद भी तो कुछ रहता है ना? Something is left, ashes or something. What happens after that karma beaches are burned of so many people? Babaji smiled and told me, what do you think the ashes of Shiva's body symbolizes? It goes to that source. And that it is just a symbolism. It is symbolizes as the ashes in the body of Shiva. Symbolism. There is nobody called Saap wala, Jata wala, Ganja pine wala. There is nobody. They never took birth and there is no one like that. It is just a symbol. So these ashes represent all our burned karmas of humanity. Okay, this is how it works. Anyway, so what is the one left now? The left is the prarabdha karma. Okay, so I have done this meditation. So karmakshalan is not in your control. You have to meditate and be qualified for something, the higher grace. That's what you can do. Meditate, and meditate so that you can roast all your karma bij. You give your 100%. All means you give your 100%. Don't bother about kya hoga uska. Third is prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means it is downloaded. From the storage, matter is issued. It's already issued for implementation. The car has gone out of the garage. It's no longer in the storage. It's gone. It will start running. Now, up to maybe a few hundred years, maybe about 200 years back, people are in a, it was almost, that's why many scriptures write that. There it is saying if it is a prarabdha karma, even Devio cannot stop it. Because it is like some mountain, a rock is started rolling. He said, if the rock is stationary, then you can stop it so that it doesn't fall, which is a sanchita karma. But if the rock has started rolling on the mountain surface, there is no, it needs huge amount of force to stop it. And actually it is unstoppable. How to stop a rolling rock? That's why I say prarabdha karma, even Devis cannot do anything about it. Because that's the prarabdha, it will come and show its effect. Yeah. Here the Babaji's grace has come again. Okay. What happens is during, say, I already told you from fifth body to fourth to third to second, which energy body, then through Sushumna Nadi it enters into physical body. When this downloading happens, it shows as a drip of the energy. You have seen in the hospital or something, there is a drip machine that, it drips some saline, they get drip. That kind of dripping happens from the higher bodies to coming into the physical body through Sushumna Nadi. Sushumna Nadi is that tube, and it will affect our intellect, and they will get the effect. Now, Babaji has gifted Kriya Yoga. In Kriya, what we do? We activate all 7 chakras, and through, always from bottom up, we go flush that energy all the time. Yeah? That's what we do. We practice. Yeah? Today also we'll do. When you're flushing that with energy, whatever the dripping thing comes, it goes flushed off. Sushumna Nadi. So even if it is dripping coming down, but you are flushing it with energy, all chakras are activated, you are flushing it, it cannot enter into your intellect to get the effect done. Suppose you have some karma is coming, have a cancer, drip. Slowly, maybe after some time, if you're not careful, suddenly some blood report will tell you, doctor, you have to consult and your life will change. But if you're practicing daily, no matter what is dripping, you're flushing it off. So Kriya Yoga is the mitigation method for prarabdha karma. Even it helps which is already downloaded. Because your energy channel is clean, so it will not deteriorate, it will go from that, so it cannot carry on further. So this is how we can mitigate from that. Practicing Kriya. And Kriya and meditation, both we are doing. Main thing is to get our karmic burden reduced, get free, and PVF going high. We already have 108 stomach breathing and all those things. So in the day one, what you learn at the time of initiation, all will apply. There is no something special. Whatever you need, already you have it. The divine has sent Samajan to teach you that, right or not? Okay. Only you have to apply and practice. Allow your mind or ego mind not to interfere, not to analyze too much. If you follow like a blindly, stupidly, you will get relieved. Okay, your life will transform, it will change. External, nothing will change, but your life will change forever. Then you come to the level who will be able to see what you've done. Your karma, past life karma will be revealed to you. Like a cinema, movie. You will understand that what I have done and all these kind of things. And that will go, when you get enlightened, that will go once for all ever. No karma coming back. That will be your last life, get liberated. Nothing to fall in trap with any more karma. So managing karma will not be applicable. No need to manage anything. You got liberated, you operate from that level. You may come back for another life. It's okay. It is a choice. It's called dharmic birth, to help others, not for because of karma. In karma, it is compulsory. If the balanced karma is there, you have to come back. It's called karmic birth. But if you settle all your karma, you get enlightened, then what happens is causal body, the fifth body, there are a lot of karma. You can see them in the black patches and all. If you can see in the eyes, you can see a lot of black patches are there. But when all karmas are clean, you will see that's a clean. It become a golden. Your Karan is the cause of everything, causal body. When the causal body get completely cleaned, for all enlightened people, there's karma things, as I told you just earlier, that all are clean. That body converts into bliss body. No karma left. It's a pure bliss is felt. The moment you go there, if pure bliss is felt, no karma. Okay, and then you operate from something, operate from compassion and all. It is like a zero karma living. Like people have something zero calorie diet and that kind of stuff. Zero karma actions, zero karma thought, zero karma words. No karma, no further karma is born. But of course, if somebody is enlightened intentionally, if he or she does something, you will bind again karma. But because of the high awareness, they will not do it. They know the consequences. They already see hundreds of lifetimes what happened. No? They're aware. They will not do it. They will not fall into that trap. So this is how the karmic thing works. And with this, I'll close this learning session. So now if you have any question, please unmute and ask question.
Guruji, the Sanchit karma includes only the karma of our human lifetime, or it's from the beginning? Sanchit karma.
See, karmas are created when there is a free will. Okay. So earlier, animal, plant, they don't have free will.
Correct.
Plant, they cannot move also. What they will do? What they can do? Yeah. They cannot have and do some harm to somebody else. And you've never seen two plants are fighting. Have you seen two plants are fighting? Never. In the animal, lower level of animal also, they don't have a free will. They just follow the rule. They are governed by something. They don't have that mind to, think. Only higher level of animal, they have it. Okay. From their karma starts in the higher level of animals. Okay. So to answer your question, we can go back up to the higher level of animal thing, not below that. There is no karma there. Because they are governed by the natural forces. They don't. If they go and fight also, there is no mean-mindedness in the fight. For survival or something, they fight. Or they eat someone just to feed themselves. That's it. Okay. So up to higher level of animal lives, the karma goes, but mostly human. Because animal level karma, very easy to sort out. Maybe in the first human life, you already done it. Otherwise, you will not be able to take birth as a human anyway. Okay, so retrospectively, if you see, look back, I think animal karmas are not much, but they do happen. Yeah. In my own past lives, in my present life mother, I shared that story several times earlier also. We had a chimpanzee life. In chimpanzee, my mother was a chimpanzee mother, and I am a chimpanzee son. Okay. I lost in the forest. I never come back to my mother in that life. And that created a pain in my mother's heart, chimpanzee mother's heart. It waited so many hundreds of lifetimes, human lifetimes. Only in this life, we got a chance. I am being a son and my mother. And in this life, I'm sure till end of her life, I will not leave her. Okay, that's how it works.
Wow.
One more curious thing. The way you die, like now we see a lot of people, everyone has to die. We see a lot of people dying. Some die in accidents, or some die in hospital, some die while in sleep, some die suffering. So is there any lesson out of this? The way a person dies, does it convey any message?
No, I mean, it doesn't matter, If I see myself dying several hundred times, it's just a matter of changing a dress. It's not a big deal. For us, it is a big deal dying. Soul level, it doesn't matter. But to answer your question, this how you die, that is also chosen by our own soul. Not necessarily we'll all the die glamorously in our level. Okay, you sleep in the bathroom and die. It's not glamorous. Okay.
Correct.
So that's also possible. But what I'm saying is this choice is left without soul's permission, our own soul's permission. Nothing can happen.
Correct.
Okay, nothing can happen. What is possible is, say, sometimes of the accidental deaths, what happened, that is not planned, but accidental deaths, the rest of the plan is shifted to the another life.
Okay.
Okay, because of this has happened, which was not planned. As per plan, it didn't happen. Huh? Okay, so this is how it works.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you so much.
Okay, God bless you. Yes, Vikas.
And RP, I want to ask the difference between Guru Kripa and Guru Anugrah. Is there any difference in these two, or it is same?
See, Guru Kripa, what I told you, that is for the final, the Guru Tattva, not the person. Huh? Guru Tattva, they help you to get enlightened. Huh? And Guru, whatever you are saying, Parigraha. What you are saying, what is the other one?
Anugraha.
Anugraha, yeah. It is to me, it is to me means sometimes what happens, some part of the disciple's pain, Guru take to himself. It's possible. There are techniques. Okay. Even Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev, he took the cancer from somebody, right? Okay. That because Guru is compassionate, they can do something. They can take your suffering, and that is the anugraha. Okay. It is not directly linked to the enlightenment. Guru Kripa. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other question? Okay. So if there is no question.
Sir,
Yes, Shweta.
sir, thank you so much. Listening to every word was so much graceful by itself, and seeing you getting emotional and becoming so blissful. We are so lucky to see all this and hear all this. Thank you so much, sir.
But that is the truth. It is so much of love is felt, that time. That makes you cry. Okay. So it is pure love. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. All right. Be blessed. Okay. So get ready. Sit straight.